Everyone is speaking out about this as the New York Jets have a huge question that a lot of fans have been wondering about in regards to the New York Jets defense, specifically when it comes to their defensive line and who is going to be next to Quinnen Williams. A lot of Jets fans have been upset about this, and also we have a massive Jets update on a sneaky move that they made that was recently announced, and we're going to break all of this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And if you guys are part of that 68% that's not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to Jets Digest for daily New York Jets videos like this one, and we have a bunch of more fun stuff coming as well over this offseason. So make sure to subscribe, but let's jump into it. There's a lot to discuss. When Darren Muji took over as the New York Jets GM, there was a bunch of different holes the team had to fill. There's no secret about that. And some of them, they got answers, whether they were temporary, like how we sort of feel about Justin Fields, or if they were more permanent answers, like who's going to be the right tackle on this team, and then Armand Demembo getting drafted, and seeing a bunch of moves like this, seeing Brandon Stevens get signed, seeing Andre Sisco come in. We've seen the New York Jets answer some problems, both short and long term. But one problem that a lot of Jets fans have been speaking out about and really wondering is who is going to go next to Quinnen Williams. The New York Jets have an evident hole, or had an evident hole, at the defensive tackle spot next to Quinnen Williams. And, well, a lot of fans, they've been upset about this. And recently it's come out that Darren Muji himself has made some comments. And really there's just been a lot of comments in regards to this whole situation. And it was mentioned by Jet X Factor that the good news is the Jets have addressed some of these needs with Derek Nottie, Byron Cowart, and Jay Tufele. And this is why General Manager Darren Muji wasn't so worried about the position group following the draft, with Muji saying, we feel good about the group. I mean, the guys that are in that room, a lot of those guys have played, Jay, Nottie, Cowart. Those guys have played in the NFL. They know how to play the game. Even after this weekend, meaning the NFL draft weekend, we'll have the UFL to evaluate. We'll have all offseason. We're constantly looking to add pieces to the team that we think can help at all positions. So by no means is the roster ever complete. So Darren Muji giving an absolutely phenomenal answer right there, Matt. I agree with everything he said. First of all, I agree with Muji. It's not something that they have to necessarily already have solved. And also, when you have an elite player like a Quinnen Williams, I think that does help ease the blow a little bit of there being this curiosity of who's going to be the second starting defensive tackle.
So everyone is looking at the Jets defense, looking at the amount of third down percentage that we're giving up, the amount of broken tackles that we're surrendering to other teams, and everyone's saying correctly something has to change when it comes to our defensive linemen. But if you look just 2 years ago, the final full season that Robert Saleh had, the way that him and Joe Douglas filled that hole next to Quinnen Williams was they went to free agency, they signed low money guys like Al Woods from the Seattle Seahawks. They just got big guys just to fill in the gaps run stuffing wise next to Quinnen Williams. And that's what I really think Darren Muji can do as well. It's not a big deal that the New York Jets did not go out and spend draft picks on defensive linemen, because the idea is you pay Quinnen Williams a ton of money because he is so good that he doesn't need some more good defensive linemen right next to him. He's going to be able to take up a lot of the offensive line's attention, and he's going to make problems for other offenses all by himself. The one thing he can't do is, of course, when we run the ball, or when other teams run the ball against us and they run the ball away from Quinnen Williams, we are then going to need more run stuffers to make those tackles, because Quinnen Williams, of course, can't be anywhere at once. But that's why, just like you said, we went out in free agency, picked up Jay Tufele, picked up Derek Nottie from the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's why we don't need to panic when it comes to defensive tackles and defensive linemen. When we're talking about defensive linemen, we're talking about run defenders. We're talking about edges that aren't like Germaine Johnson's and Will McDonald's. We're not talking about pass rushers. We're talking about linemen who will line up on the edge in like 3rd and 1 or run down situations, but are mostly going to be those defensive linemen that we're referring to. The Jets don't need to spend a lot of assets and resources on improving the defensive line, because Quinnen Williams has to be able to do a lot of it by himself, and we can just pick up some run support specialists who are a lot cheaper than pass rushers in free agency. When you're looking at free agency, the defensive edges and linemen who get a lot of money are the guys that put up sack numbers and quarterback hurries. The run stuffers, they don't make as much, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So I think it is really smart by Darren Muji not to spend more draft picks on interior defensive lineman, I think it was really smart to go get that offensive lineman that we know is extremely expensive in free agency and the tight end, which fills two holes at once. We get a pass catcher and we fill that hole at tight end that our roster had.
I 100% agree. And as you mentioned, look, the big thing is you have Quinnen Williams. You could pay him a ton of money so you don't have to pay another defensive tackle a ton of money. Quinnen Williams has been great for the New York Jets throughout his time. His last 3 seasons, he's been a Pro Bowler. He's been phenomenal. Only missed 2 games over the last 3 seasons, so excellent numbers there. Forced a few fumbles in his career. Has had very good numbers throughout his NFL career. And yeah, he's a great run stopper. And look, do the Jets necessarily have another elite run stopper on their team? Not exactly, but they do have something else that's pretty great. As on top of Quinnen Williams being awesome, we now have a huge update on one of the key guys when it comes to defending the run. As Robert Saleh said, the man who will chase down a running back when he breaks away in Germaine Johnson. Now, obviously, he went down with that torn Achilles, threw everything off. But as Germaine Johnson announced, officially here for year 5. Just want to take a little time to thank the Jets organization, Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn, and Woody Johnson for their belief in me and who I am on and off the field. Though I know it sounds corny, but I wouldn't be, it couldn't be more true. I've barely scratched the surface. As always, y'all will get everything I got. Go Jets. I mean, we've both been pretty big Germaine Johnson supporters throughout our time as Jets fans. Germaine Johnson picked in the first round of the NFL draft when Joe Douglas traded up for another selection in the first round. Johnson proved to be an excellent pick for the Jets. He's been great with them. Obviously, the hammer celebration became very synonymous with Jets fans very quickly. And Johnson is someone who, yes, he is more of an edge rusher, but he's been phenomenal at just getting running backs down throughout his time in the NFL. And I'm really excited to have Germaine Johnson back on this team.
He's working his way back from that Achilles injury, and Darren Muji, he had a decision to make this offseason. Was he going to pick up that 5th-year option on Germaine Johnson and pay him for a 5th year, but keep him under contract? Or was he going to let him play this year with no future stability? I think he made the exact correct decision with picking up the 5th-year option, because now we are going to have to pay him a little bit more that 5th year, or we're going to pay him more than he has to pay right now. All right. Let me restart this. By picking up the 5th-year option, we are saying that we think he's going to be pretty good this year, but we are protecting ourselves against him being really, 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 really good and having to pay him a ton of money next year. Now, the one downside is if Germaine Johnson fails to come back off of this injury and is really, really bad this year, then we're going to be on the hook for a little bit more money next year than we should be. But like I said before, I think this was exactly the correct risk to take. I think with what we've seen from Germaine Johnson, he should come back strongly off this injury. I think he's going to put up numbers this season. And after this 5th-year option, he's going to be signing a big contract. We're going to see whether that's with the Jets. We think it's going to be with the Jets. But when you're getting that much money and we got to pay Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, all that money, it's not guaranteed that Germaine Johnson is going to be back, although we are definitely hoping he will be. But for right now, let's just hope Germaine Johnson, as suggested by his posts on social media, we think he's coming back strong. We think the Achilles looks pretty good. Let's hope it continues to look good on Sundays this season.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, with Johnson specifically, it'll be interesting to see how the Jets go about things. They didn't really add any premier edge rushers or anything throughout this team. They've addressed the position a little bit, but with having Will McDonald, with having Germaine Johnson, Johnson's role is still his. Like, he didn't lose his role because he hurt the Achilles. He's still going to be there. He's still going to be as one of the 2 edge rushers next to Will McDonald. And, I mean, Johnson was the feature guy coming into this season, and now, obviously, going to this one, it's Will McDonald, who had a breakout year with the Jets, and it's going to be interesting to see how Johnson can come back. Now, obviously, it's not ever good to tear your Achilles or anything, but it's almost like catching a break that had happened in game 2 of the season, because since it happened in that early September spot, an Achilles injury usually takes around 9 months, 10 months to fully heal before you can get back doing contact work. Being an edge rusher, having that burst ability, you do want to be careful with it, especially because you're on the MetLife turf for, half your games. Almost in a way, luckily, one of their home games is overseas this season, so it's one less game on MetLife turf. Thanks, Woody. But when it comes down to it with the Jets, it's a matter of it's a matter of making sure that Germaine Johnson's going to be 100%, and he should be well before the regular season begins, which is a huge sign. He should be back to playing contact sometime and doing just everything full speed, full contact at 100%. Sometime in July, I think we could all expect to see him doing his thing again. And that's huge because it gets him through training camp. It gets everything you need for Germaine Johnson to be warmed up. So, yes, there's going to be that bit of rust that's going to come with playing 3 halves of football in over a year. But at the same time, it is good that he'll be able to sort of shake some of that off in training camp, that he won't be coming back and it won't be like the middle of the season where you have to readjust to everything. And also, there's already been games played, so there's just a bunch of other superlatives around it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. If he is going to tear his Achilles, you definitely would rather it be earlier in the season rather than later in the season, because when it's later in the season, you might end up missing games in next season and then getting labeled as an injury-prone player. I'm not sure how many people watching videos this late, but everyone telling me Elijah Arroyo is an injury-prone player because he tore his ACL one time and that was the only injury in college. I don't even know, Chris. I don't know. But Germaine Johnson, I think he's going to come back, and I'm excited to see him back on the field.
So am I. Guys, are you excited to see Germaine Johnson? Who do you want to be the starting defensive tackle next to Quinnen Williams? Should it be me? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. If you think it should be me, you should probably watch some more film or something, because it should not be me. Guys, have a great day, and go Jets.